are doing eyeglasses. So eyeglasses, the product, is designed for both usability and accessibility. Those two terms, are used pretty interchangeably a lot of times, but for our presentation here, we're taking that as usability being for the general public and accessibility being for individuals with physical impairments. And those physical impairments could come on a spectrum, right? You could have not many things that are affecting your life. You could have a lot of things that are affecting your life. And so we're really looking for the deep end of that spectrum where there's many things affecting your standard of living. And so we're trying to provide a way for individuals on that deep end of the spectrum to be able to annotate, scroll through, take a dictionary, reading, and then get source info for media, digital media specifically. And so we're going to do that using voice and vision controls. And so we really see that the voice is going to add the capabilities of usability for the general public, and then the vision is going to be something that's more accessibility focused. So for the first gesture that we have supported, we're going to do annotation. So individuals that might not be able to use any part of their body other than their eyes themselves, they need to be able to use their eyes, is that they could circle. So you literally just take your eyeballs and circle them counterclockwise or clockwise. And doing that motion, it's not a very common motion. It's not like you're going to do that in normal reading. And so it would pull up a QWERTY-style keyboard. At that point, you could then stare at a letter, 1 to 2 seconds, something along those lines. It would do something along selecting the letter, so it would enlarge the letter itself, and then the user would be able to slide up or look up if they liked the option that was selected or the letter that was chosen, or they could slide down saying, no, I want a different letter. They could also use backspace to get rid of letters that they do not want in their entry. And then at the end, they'd be able to finish. And so for that's for accessibility. For usability, for more capable person, you'd have voice controls to do that, and you'd have some type of key phrase to activate the annotation, and then it would use voice to text to translate your voice into text.
So next we wanted to think about scrolling, and in our last presentation we had talked about using a tilt function in order to scroll on a page. And then we started thinking about the people that really have impaired motion. So we wanted kind of a natural feel to navigating a page, so we decided to go with just tracking your eye movement, and once you approach the edge of a page, whether it be top, bottom, left, or right, to just start sliding the page at a certain pace. Pace can be obviously changed by the user to make it very comfortable and natural feeling. As far as voice goes, we could just use keywords in order to scroll a set amount of the page at a time, and that can obviously be customized by the user. Next we want to talk about sourcing. Keep us from this fake news that's all going around, so we'd like to know where our sources are coming from for our news articles. As far as vision goes, we just have to stare somewhere on the page. It doesn't have to be at a certain word or anything for sourcing, but a pop-up menu will come up, and you'll choose the sourcing option. Either stare at it for 1 to 2 seconds, whatever the user wants to set up. That's if they don't want to use the blink to select or have problems blinking. As far as voice goes, you can just use a key phrase in order to pull up the sourcing information. And this would have to be supported by the publisher, so there'd have to be some sort of protocol in order to make all that work. The dictionary is very similar. You'll just stare at the word to pull up that options menu, and you'll have three options so far is what we thought of. We got the sourcing option, the dictionary option, and then just a cancel if you accidentally just sat and stared at it for too long. So same thing there. You'll stare at it for 1 to 2 seconds in order to select it, or blink to select. And same with the voice, just using a key phrase to look up the word that you do not understand.
So the product specs, what you see here is a Google Glass. Take it apart, but it's just like the Google Glass where we would use glasses. If my camera crew here can help me out, where we'd use the frame of the glasses to mount the speaker and the microphone, and the lens itself would hold the screen and the eye tracker for the users. And so again, the microphone and speaker, those are kind of put in there for usability for the general public. And the eye tracker and lens screen, that's more focused, well the screen obviously is for the general public too, but the eye tracker and the lens screen, they're kind of more focused towards those accessibility groups. So yeah, next slide, and then integration. So if you perhaps didn't want to go the route of purchasing a new hardware product, didn't want to be constrained by that, we were thinking that there might be some type of software that could be designed for the iPad itself. Thank you, Alec, for pointing this out in the comment section of our last presentation. And using the front-facing camera, you could track the user's eyes and do a lot of the things that we've already talked about with the eyeglasses. So this, we think, would be cost-effective. You'd have one single device then, but again, we wanted to stick with the eyeglasses as a whole, or focus on those because we saw those as being more accessible. Individuals with pure physical impairments would have a better time taking in content with something they wouldn't have to touch. And the glasses you could put on and leave those on throughout the day. They wouldn't have to move around and do anything like that. So yeah, eyeglasses are the wave of the future.
That's right.